Hello, everyone. My name is Braedon Tye, and this is my applied assignment for SPE 223. So, the first thing we're going to go over is the pre work. In my pre work, my topic was how do individuals with visual impairments navigate interviewing for and retaining jobs. The why for this is in order to better understand the processes that individuals with visual impairments undertake in a vocational world. It is important to understand and grasp the interview process for individuals with visual impairments, how those individuals manage their careers, and if they are able to retain their jobs. The vocational aspirations of people are one of the most fundamental and important aspects of their lives. If a majority of individuals with disabilities struggle finding jobs, it is important to increase our inclusive workplace practices so that they can reach their full potential. The aspects of inclusion that I included in this presentation are universal design, integration, stereotype threat, and equitable workplace attitudes. The person that I interviewed was my dad. The reason that I interviewed him was because he has a visual impairment, retinitis pigmentosa, and macular degeneration. This has impacted his ability to work and has created significant challenges throughout his life. I have a lot of background knowledge around the topic. I have also assisted in many activities that my father has difficulties completing on his own. So I'm very familiar with the concept and struggles that people face with visual impairments. The course materials that I'll be talking about are people with invisibility, not the power, but people with invisible disabilities fight for understanding, and integrating people with disability into the workforce. These articles are very interesting and informative. They go over some of the challenges that people with visual impairments face in integrating into the workforce and some of the perspectives that other people have about individuals with visual impairments. For a lot of individuals with visual impairments, it is a invisible disability. Many individuals with a visual impairment don't walk around with canes, and just because somebody has a visual impairment doesn't mean they wear blacked out glasses. Visual impairments exist on a spectrum, and that is a concept that is lost on a lot of people in our society. There are a lot of conflicts that my dad has gotten into because of this, and because of people who don't understand that he has a visual impairment. Um, the article Invisible Disabilities, say that 5 times fast. This article was really interesting to me because I found it very useful in increasing my understanding of some of the things that my dad goes through, and it also made me check myself and realize some of the things that I don't have to worry about and I take for granted. Integrating people with disability into the workforce was very pertinent to this topic because it talks about some of the struggles that individuals with disabilities have reported, despite having a large amount of support from politicians and laws being signed into office that are supposed to prevent discriminations in the workforce. There's still a large number of individuals with disabilities who are not integrated into the workforce. And there is also a lot of stereotypes being perpetuated in those workplaces. So I thought this article was very interesting. Some of the suggestions that it had in order to combat this were very beneficial. From my research, I found 2 articles: College Graduates with Visual Impairments, a report on seeking and finding employment, and barriers to employment identified by blind and vision impaired persons in New Zealand. These resources were very interesting, and they went over a lot of hard to read information that included some of the challenges that people with visual impairments face in their workplace settings and how to combat some of the negative stereotypes that are perpetuated. Um, there are many things that people with visual impairments can do in order to find employment. Relying on others who have gone through similar circumstances or entered similar professions is one way that people with visual impairments can find success in employment situations. And then the barriers to employment identified by blind and vision impaired persons in New Zealand really went over a lot of the slow progress that has been made towards combating discriminations in the workforce. And it has provided many suggestions that individuals with visual impairments can do in order to have more success. It also talks about some of the worries that these individuals have with disclosing some of their disabilities and some of the promises that have been made by employers that haven't been fulfilled, such as assistive technologies. So, for the evidence portion of this PowerPoint, I'll go over some of the evidence that I collected through my interview with my father. So, here I've attached the video of my interview with my father in case you want to go and watch that, and also the text message confirming that the interview would be taking place. And here I've attached my interview questions. So a lot of these questions were very interesting to hear from my father's perspective and things that I hadn't gone over before. I learned a lot from my dad about some of the challenges that he's faced with employment, some of his attitudes towards people who don't have visual impairments, some of the ways that he's been treated because of his disability, and some of the successes he's had in finding employment despite having a visual impairment. As far as new learning goes, the next few slides will discuss some of the things that I want to continue learning and some of the ways that I have integrated the information that I've learned in this class into my life. So, inclusion, there are a lot of things that I learned from the course readings as well as my interview with my dad. I was able to challenge my perspective on some of the challenges that individuals with disabilities face when finding employment. I was able to discover some of the ways that employers are trying to create more inclusivity in the workplace. And I was also made aware of some of the changes that still need to be made in order to make more universal design elements in infrastructure and employment, and more integration of individuals with disabilities into our workplace environments and educational settings. I was also able to learn about equity in relation to vocational success. I learned a lot about creating an environment that is welcoming to individuals with disabilities, the destruction of harmful stereotypes. I also learned a lot about what is required to change our perception of individuals with disabilities, combating unconscious biases, and impacting our view of individuals with disabilities on a societal basis. By increasing the amount of interaction that people have with individuals with disabilities, negative stereotypes can be combated. Finally, I have learned a lot about access and the access to resources and opportunities that individuals with disabilities have, and some of the ways that we can make create more access for individuals with disabilities so that they can achieve their full potential in workplace environments. For continued inquiry, we'll go over some of the things that I want to learn about in the future. So now I want to know what new technologies can be adopted to benefit individuals with disabilities. I'll find out more about this topic by researching some of the latest technological advancements that can be used to help people with disabilities. My question to you is, have you ever had an interaction with someone with a visual impairment? Did that interaction make you feel uncomfortable? If so, ask yourself why. Thank you. I look forward to hearing your responses.